Cool.
What's going on, folks? It's Courtney Rollins back here again with the awesome crew, Special K's, Kayla and Crystal. How y'all doing today again?
I'm doing well.
Heck yeah. Kayla's in a car full in a room with a room full of folks on her way to her JLB. So both of these folks are working hard, putting aside time, even though they have other jobs, other commitments, but they are still a part of this Rising Tides intern program where they're um, following along and following instructions that hopefully we're providing that help them after they finish this program be able to do the wholesaling from the beginning to the end on their own. And hopefully we'll still connect and work together and grow together. But the idea is that Shanita and I, we're trying to learn. So one of the best ways to learn is to share. And we've been blessed to be able to, in our short time, take the instructions we got from TTP, shout out to Britton Daniels and them folks, and build our company to where we're now doing 3 to 5 deals pretty steadily. We need to raise those margins that we got, but we're at least can count on about 16,000 plus coming in, which has changed our trajectory of our present and future, and allows us to eventually leave our W-2s. I have a full-time position as well, and commit wholeheartedly to this so that we can use these funds to fuel our assets, which fuels our desires and ability to make a large impact in this world. So with that being said, today we're going to talk about what do you do once you get the property under contract and what are the steps you need to take. So I have some really specific, I hope, instructions for you all. And I'll answer any questions that you all have, or at least attend to them or respond to them, because I may not have the answers. But and then I'll record this as it's being recorded, share it with the world, and share it with you all so you can hopefully make good use of it. All right. So first, we're going to start off with, remember, just follow up. Follow up is so key, so vital. Crystal just was able to get a lead come in that we just locked up the contract. And that was after maybe 3 or 4, or really 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half of conversation with them. But actually, most of these it's on the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th touch. I'm still getting properties or leads in or deals locked up from people I've spoken to when I first started early last year. And that's just from putting them on my calendar and making sure that I have a recurring follow-up system so that I can continue to touch base and stay front of mind. And that's one tool. When you're following up, it's not always just a, hey, have you sold the property yet? Hey, what's going on? But adding value each time. That's why it's so important to build rapport, to type in those notes of all those small little things with the mom doing, the grandma, all that different stuff, so that you can attend to that rapport you built, but also maybe add value if there's some issue that they're trying to resolve. And really, it's funny because you're trying to hurry up and slow down at the same time when you're talking to these folks. So it's not just a, hey, how you doing? Let's just be buddies. But you are trying to push. You're always trying to close. You're trying to push the sell along. So when I say slow down, what I mean is that, you're not always, hey, keep signing today. What's up? What's up? People don't like to be sold to. They don't like that aggressiveness. But you are asking people, okay, so what's next? What's the issue? What's getting in your way today? How can we help resolve that? What would make you feel comfortable moving forward? One thing I have been saying a lot, though, that may borderline being pressure, but hope not, is, hey, okay, so if we can come up to that price that you're asking for today, or come up to that solution problem that you're trying to and solve that problem you have, when will you be ready to move forward? Because I need to know where my money's going. We're buying 2 or 3 properties this week or this month, and we just need to know where our cash is going, who we giving our cash to. And that has been working pretty well to help people realize, okay, well, these guys are so serious, and I want to be that person that they're sending that money to. Or you can even pull that, say, well, it looks like you're just not ready. How about we just cancel it and we just start over, and I'll check back in down the road. Any way I can help in the future, cool. Sometimes they'll take you up on it, and sometimes they're like, no, we're ready to move forward. I always do the counsel, especially in a text. I'm like, oh, it sounds like you're not ready to move forward. No problem. That going negative straight from Chris Voss, never split the difference, jars people and gets them to make a decision. And we want decisions because, being in purgatory or limbo isn't getting anybody's issue solved and is not bringing revenue into our accounts. All right, so that's just a little blurb on follow up. But okay, you have the contract, right? The person agreed, you've done all the rapport, you got the contract, right? They're ready to sign. I recommend that you have some e-sign app like HelloSign, e-sign. There's tons of them, DocuSign, all that stuff. But I like Hello Sign because it's free, and I love the free 99. And I usually say, hey, in about 10 minutes, or let's go over the contract. Be quite honest, I really don't. I know we should go over the contract with them, and I call it a purchase agreement. But so most of these folks are just so relieved to have their issue solved that if I touch the points where, hey, we're taking it as is, we're paying all the closing costs, and we're closing at your convenience unless there's a delay due to title. And here I put my inspection period in there. As long as I have those clauses in there and I explain that to them, quite often I don't necessarily need to go over the purchase agreement with them. But depending on your rapport or your relationship with the seller, you may want to just have that in your habit. Soon as you get that agreement back, you're going to send it directly to your title company and let them know that, hey, I need you to contact the seller within the next 24 to 48 hours and all, because I've told the seller that you're going to contact them. Make sure you send it to your title company, and that you also, based on your relationship with your title company, know what they want from you. Like they're going to want even though you have the contact information probably in the agreement, they may want it in the email so it's easier or whatever. And so just usually when you're building a relationship with the title company, say, hey, what would make it easier for us to continue to do business together? What information do you need from me? And then you supply the information as best you can. And then you're staying in constant communication with the seller and the title company. I'm like, hey, I will let you all know that I'm going to be contacting you at least once a week. No news is usually good news, but I just want to stay front, have good communication with you all, just so we can guide this on to the finish line. And you also submit your EMD, which is usually about $10 to $100 depending, but you want to make sure you submit that so that you actually have a legal contract. There's other things you might be able to do, file a memorandum on your contract, which clouds the title just in case a seller backs out or tries to go behind your back. But I haven't had to do that, knock on wood. And you have to make sure that you're following whatever your state's guidelines are for that, because you can't just file a memorandum without telling the seller. So some people include it on their contract. But that's hopefully you won't have to deal with that, but it may be something to think about. Another way you may be asking, how do I find a good title company? Well, I think using Facebook groups is a great way to find good title companies that are wholesaler and real estate investor friendly. And just go in any of these real estate investing groups that's in your local market. And instead of just asking the question and getting a lot of responses, usually these groups have search engines, and the question you're asking, I'm sure, has been asked or by someone else. So just type in title companies and see what all comes back. And then I just check and see, if this person's someone's recommended this person 5, 10, 20, whatever times, that may be the group or the title company I want to go to. And that same strategy applies to anything. By finding cash buyers, find any question, I would just use the search engine first before I ask that question. And then you may have the answer when you see someone else ask that question. You can build relationships and network by providing those answers because you've already come across them too. All right, so that's the contract lockup. Next is create the flyer. Once you send it over, you're going to immediately go and put relevant information on the flyer. I recommend that you do it, like have some type of electronic, MailChimp or Carrot websites are awesome that have like just templates that are ready to go. But maybe you don't have that in your budget, or you don't have that yet. You can just open up a Word document, copy and paste the pictures in there. If you're sending out electronically, you can have a photo, a link, hyperlink with the pictures in there. Make sure you have, the beds, bath. This is a residential property, the square footage as best you can. The kind of rehab, right? Is it cosmetic? Is it light? Is it full rehab? Is it a full gut? Is it like basically needs no rehab, all updated? The occupancy, is it occupied? Is it delivered vacant? Now about the address, you don't want to include the full address because unfortunately we do have unscrupulous folks in our industry sometimes, and they will try to run behind you and all. So I include the block. I usually include to the 100s. So if it's 7204, I put 72XX Main Street. So I put as much. I'm trying to think of the buyer as a hero in the story, and as much information as she needs to hear to be able to make a decision. I want to put that in there. However, Shanita and I don't include the ARV or the rehab cost. Shout out to Max Maxwell for this tip, because everybody has different opinions on what the rehab cost is, depending on their crew, who they know, with their skill level, what they plan to do with it, right? And so I don't want to push myself out of a deal by putting the in rehab, but I don't want to argue with the buyer. They know they're taking this as is, and they know they need to do their due diligence. So when they come view the property, that's what that's for. If they're doing the sight unseen, they know what the risk they're getting involved. And that's why we get these usually at very discounted prices so that they can hedge in and protect their investment as well. The ARV too. All I do is I provide the recent, I go on PropStream or go directly to the MLS and provide all the recent MLS sales with the similar, beds to baths to this type of house and all that stuff within a 0.25 mile radius in Baltimore. You can expand it out in other areas, depends on your market. And then I also will put recent cash sales, and put the, top 3 up there. All right. So I don't add ARV or the rehab costs to my flyers, but I do provide that information so people can do their own due diligence, pictures, videos, and all that stuff. The contact information, how do you want them to contact you? You might want to set up a different phone numbers so that you can track who's calling, because when you start getting all these volumes of folks, or your team does, you want to make sure you're speaking to people you need to speak to. So that's something that we didn't do at front. So now I have people calling my line. I don't know if it's a buyer or who it is. So we've had to do a little cleaning up on the back end, but we learn as we go. I would also put a waiver in there or a disclaimer that, hey, no joint venturing or marketing my contract without express written permission. So that hopefully avoids, it doesn't always, but avoids people taking your hard-earned work and your contract and blasting it out there, or these folks who want to JV and joint venture with you and not doing it the right way and just putting it all out there. We'll talk about JV and joint ventures in a future conversation or a future week, but they can be very awesome. They can be very annoying too. I had some great JV partners for the most part, and then I had some folks who just, for lack of experience, just weren't as strong. You are stating on there that this is an assignment of contract somewhere on your flyer, or an assignment of an interest in the LLC, which you might do if you're like, working around a short sale or some other things. There's ways that you can purchase the product, sell the LLC so that people can get interest in the property. We like to write that, hey, realtors, if you're going to join in, add your fee on top, so you're not cutting into our assignment contract. And we let people know, hey, on the flyer, your earnest money deposit is $5,000. I don't care if the property is being sold for $3,000. We still put $5,000 there because we want to make sure that the buyer is serious. And people walking away from $1,000, believe it or not, $2,000 also, believe it or not, and $5,000 is something that they're going to think about, because we want our buyers, we're protecting our reputation, and we want our buyers to come through and be serious, make sure they're serious. So 5,000 usually does the job. Now, if you have a repeat buyer, you may want to reduce that down 2,500 or something like that. But I would definitely start off with the 5,000, especially if you don't have the relationship. All right, the next segment is pushing it out. Now, as you acquire cash buyers, and again, you can get them cash buyers in the same strategy, going to Facebook groups and typing in cash buyers and looking at all people's cash buyers and just borrowing all of them and contacting them and asking will they be on your cash buyers list and all that stuff. But regardless, you're going to start acquiring like some really VIP cash buyers. And the balance is, you don't want to become a cash buyer employee. In other words, you got your deal and you're selling it to one person, because eventually they're humans and they're going to want a deal. They're going to start like cutting in on your assignment. And so what you can do though is say, hey, I know you're my VIP. I want you to see this first. And they're usually the ones who make quick decisions and all that stuff. So see it first, but I'm about to put this out in about 6 hours, 12 hours or whatever. So just want you to be able to see it first. And then that's what you do. You put it out to your buyers list, your listserv, using MailChimp or any other app that can blast stuff out there. It will help you. You've probably seen some of ours come through. I would also take it to Facebook Marketplace, which is an awesome place to put out there and boost the amount of eyes are on it. And then go to these Facebook, of course, the REI, real estate investing groups, but also like the buy and trade groups, the garage sale groups, anywhere there people are like in your local space who are, willing and dealing. They want to see this assignment contract, because you're selling the paper. You're not selling the property, you're selling the paper. Now, if you don't get any bites after like a day or so, that can be a sign that maybe it's not as strong of a deal, but you can send it to realtors too. But they may ask you to pay a part of their commission if you're working with them too. But there's no problem with that. You establish a relationship, and or you may need to reduce the price, or you may need to figure out what's going on. But that's pushing it out. And then as you start gauging interests within that, the first 24 hours, 48 hours, and folks, I am looking at my notes, so I can't see you all. So if you have any questions or comments or thoughts, please jump in. I know I can just, I can just talk, but I'm talking from my notes so I don't miss anything. But anyways, once you gauge and you can test the waters and see, all right, this is I'm getting this many bites, or this is a hot deal. The pressure is you're going to want to sell it. At least I do, because I'm a deal junkie. I like getting them in, getting them out. I mean, I want high margins, but I like getting them in, getting them out. I have to listen to Shanita quite often when she's like, let's slow down, let's just take our time. But once I get a buyer says they're good to go, it is so hard for me not to say, great, lock it up, send your EMD. What I need practice in is saying, okay, great, we're going to set up this viewing at this time. If you want to stop by and check it out, awesome. But regardless, we're going to take the best offer at this time. So the viewing's on Thursday at 2:00. We'll take the best offer Thursday night at 8:00 or the next day or whatever it is. So that buyer's gonna be like, hey man, come on. Come on, Courtney. We can work together. What I need to get it from you right now. Hey man, I'll give this to you and you don't have to show it to nobody. Now, really, depending on where you are, you may want to take it, especially if they give you above asking price. But if they're willing to do that, then you could, I mean, that maybe somebody else is willing to do that. So it's it may serve your interest to say, I appreciate that, but I've already told folks and I want to stick to it. I want to be a person of my word. So we're going to, if you still want to at 5:00, just shoot it to us and we're going to take the best offer. And the best offer is not always the highest. Best offer may be somebody you know is going to close quickly, or or somebody you want to build a relationship with, or whatever. But it can also be the highest. But what you don't want to do is tell people, "Hey, this John said he's going to buy it for 20,000. What can you do?" I don't think it's proper to do bidding wars. No one feels good about that. Once you actually maybe sell it, you may have lost a buyer for the future because they remembered how they made them feel doing that, and it's just sticky. So we tell folks, hey, we're not getting into bid wars. All we just ask for is the best offer at this time, and that's what we do. Theoretically, that's what we do. What I've done in the past is get so excited, like, awesome, yeah, I'll take it. And so it's bit me in the butt, but I'm growing and I'm learning. Now at the showings, you want to make sure you manage the seller if they're there or the tenants that they're, I get there early and I make sure that any buyer that comes through says, hey, do you have any questions? You direct them to me. You're not directing them to the tenant that's in there or to the to the sellers more I'm concerned about. Now they want to do their due diligence and ask questions about conditions and all that stuff. They can still direct that to me, and it's a kind of a blurred line. But what I don't want is them trying to go around and confuse my buyers and sellers, or my sellers with whose personal property are asking questions that can jeopardize the deal. I'm open with my sellers and let them know, hey, I bring partners in to take a look to see who I'm going to go with if we partner on this deal. But I don't want the buyers trying to do negotiations with the seller when I've already done all that work, and that's a no-no. I tell them, hey, your offer is null and void if you speak to folks, and it can happen, but for the most part, the buyers should know that. And also, sometimes I'll even send the seller or the tenant, hey, I'll give them like a $50 gift card or something, and have them go off and chill for the next hour while I show it, and tell them I'll lock up or do whatever, especially if I have good rapport with them, and that usually helps. All right. So now you found the buyer, you made your choice, you got the buyer that you want there. You send over the assignment of contract, has all the information in there. You send the EMD, earnest money deposit instructions, so that they can send that along. And you usually give them about 24 hours to get that in. And you got to stay on them until they get in. I tell them, hey, I'm marketing this until the earnest money deposit is in. Because again, you can be burnt sometimes. Once you confirm the earnest money deposit in, you let them know separately that you're going to keep talking to the seller, buyer, and the title company to make sure you're pushing this along until it closes. And about several days before it's time to close, the title company will send you the HUD, Housing and Urban Development statement, that shows all the things on the transactions. You make sure that that's straight, to make sure everybody's, your assignments up there, everything is accurate and correct. And you make sure your buyer gets their funds in. You try to do it 3 days to 24 hours before the closing, so that there's no questions asked. Once the seller signs, they can get their check and all. Now, if the closing has been a little different because of COVID across the world and nation, I usually try to be there with them. But, you know, like I said, COVID's made some restrictions, because that's the great time to pick up feedback from your seller and to get video testimonials that you're going to put up on your sites, so that other sellers in the future can see how you resolve some of the questions that and problems that they may have. So that's awesome. Even with the buyer, you can get some feedback from your buyers as well. Once you get that check, whether it's wired to you or whatever, I recommend that you deposit it based on whatever your financial structure is. Shanita and I at Aqua Team, we follow the profit first. We have 5 different accounts. All our income comes into one account, and we automatically put a percentage into profit first, so that we always have profit. Then we put a percentage in for Uncle Sam, because Uncle Sam's gonna want their money at the end, since you know, we're dealers and stuff. Then you're also we also have a slot for owner comp. You know, this is what we do to, you know, live off of and provide for our family and stuff. And then we have a account that's operations, that goes directly back into the operations, so we can keep the blood going and keep Aqua Team going. Then after that, I would take that deal, and on the weekly or whatever basis that you have with your partner, with may even just be with you, break down some of the lessons that you got from that deal, whether it was a win or even if it was like some learning lessons. And all this time, all the other parts of your business are continue to go, so just keep going and just churning out. And that's how, yeah, that's how you take it from getting the contract locked up to close, from our humble opinion. Any questions or thoughts or ideas?
So what websites, like, did you build your website prior to starting, or is that something that you kind of just progressed to doing?
Great question. We sort of progressed, so we didn't really, maybe the first 1 or 2 deals, we just, I copied and pasted and had them up on my sheet. Mailchimp is, I think it's free, one version, so you could use that. But I highly suggest that you go to Carrot. You can hire people out to get your website, but Carrot, I think they have different deals at anywhere from 60 to 70 to 80. All the way up to 200 a month. But it is amazing because it knows how to use search engine optimization to make sure that buyers are going to be, or sellers are going to be contacting you and seeing you, and has everything set up so well to build Carrot credibility. I mean, all the way down to giving you content that you can use to constantly post and build credibility. So Carrot, they're awesome. Trevor, Mark, Mop, awesome folks over there.
Okay.
I have a question as well.
Mhm.
So back to the contracts. How often do you typically advertise a contract a day?
Great question. Great question. So when we're trying to boost it out there, we once I blast it out, and I'm working with what times to blast it out, because I'm thinking in the morning is like when most people are getting up, they can see it is work. But most of the time when I get it, I just throw it out there. So once we blast out the Mailchimp, it's out in the world. Um, and then we'll put it on the Facebook marketplace and all that stuff following that structure. And usually it's just a matter of letting people respond to you. So it's not like I'm every day blasting it out there. But what you can do is use text blasting. This is a great time to use text blasting to push out your deals and say, hey, and then, you know, they have text blasting formats like batch leads, batch iOS, all those, there's tons of them. But like I got one today. Hey, Joe, just wanted to see if you got your as is deal at 16th blah 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 street. So you can text blast your buyers to get that out there. Maybe that's something you do once a day until you get feedback. That's a great question though. And sometimes if we realize if we get feedback from folks, because you do want feedback, especially if they go see the property and they're like, and you can tell they're not just negotiating, they're just like, yo, it's just locked up too high. All right, what price works for you? What price works for you? Then you can go back to your actual seller and you have more information to say, hey, and I'm very contrite because I want to be, I feel bad. Hey, I can't, I thought I could do this. I was terrible. That's why you have that inspection period. It just, this came up and it just looks like I wasn't expecting that. And I can't do it at that. I don't even want, so we're going to have to cancel the deal. And then they'll be like, well, and I'm like, well, I do have a price that I don't even want to tell you. You know what I'm saying? You can share it like that, or you can just be upfront and say, hey, it looks like I'm getting this feedback from my partners and we really need to be at this price. If you can't do it, I understand, you know.
Okay, I have one more question.
I love it.
Yeah, would it make sense to advertise like your brand on like a big billboard, instead of like putting bandit boards out, maybe?
Like if you're looking to like acquire deals, acquire leads.
Right. So you see how you said make flyers and stuff like that, make banding boards. Would it make sense to put your advertisement on like a big billboard, like on the
Well,
highway or something?
all my flyers are electronic. When I do like flyers to people, it's electronic. I push it out to them. And
Okay.
I mean, there's our times when pre-COVID where I did have flyers and I go past my networking group, which is cool. But having a billboard, yeah, because that's legal and you're not getting any in trouble, and that's a dope strategy. That's awesome. When you're doing bandit sides, you quite often don't want your brand on there because depending on the municipalities, they're all different, definitely city by city. It may be you may get fined for putting bandit signs up. Bandit signs work really well, but most people put bandit signs up. That's why you don't really ever see a
Yeah.
and it's a tracking number just in case because you don't have time to always be looking up, can I do it on this corner, and you just want to like put it out there. So instead you just get a tracking number, and if you decide to put it out there, you put it out there, but you do run the risk of issues. But as far as branding yourself and getting a billboard, man, if you could do that's evergreen marketing right there. People are always going to see that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts or questions?
You said profit. So I was listening to like the 5 things that you said that you do, like in terms of breaking out your earnings. So when you say profit, is that profit going to you or is that profit going to your business?
That's going to us. That's going to us. You know, we go off of the universal laws, pay yourself first, you know. And so we're doing 10% now. Yeah, it's like literally separate bank accounts, not bank accounts with separate like ledgers, separate bank accounts. And we hold that for like in the future assets. You know, hold that for like our tithes and all the different types of stuff. But that's our to ensure that we have profit. Because some people like will come in and just want to take it all and put it right back into their business or put it back into, of course, their immediate needs, which is important. But if you look up and the well one runs dry, you know, that's how you're going to accumulate assets and wealth for you. Is always have this profit first mentality. Let me pay myself first so that I can move on. And we still have a separate one for owner's comp, you know, for tax purposes and other things. That we have a separate one for owner's comp, which is paying off debts and paying for, you know, other things and all. So
Okay, so you have a business account that this goes to.
yeah, 5 separate business accounts, right? Yep. One is income, so we can track all the income coming in. We have an operations account where we put 25% of whatever revenue comes into operations. We have 15% goes to Uncle Sam. We got 10% that goes to profit. And we have whatever the main amount, 50% that goes to owner's comp to us and to our family.
Okay.
That's profit first. I forget the name of the brother, the folks who do it, but they're pretty the people that I admire and look like they're generating wealth and are thinking about the long term, use this system. And I'm like, hey, they're smarter than me. So
Okay. Yeah, about to say, can you send that information over?
absolutely. I just sent a copy to one of my line brothers. He just quit his position. He has this dope concierge COVID testing LLC that he created this year, maybe late last year. And he was finally able to quit his job yesterday. So he's making like 20K a week off this bad, but he got some A-list clients. I know. I'm like, wait a second, what's this now? What business is this?
Yeah, that's dope.
Right? So he know funds to put it. Yeah, like he's serving the mayor of Atlanta, serving like the CEO of Walgreens. All yeah. So like Big Willie doing some big things. Yeah. So
Congrats to him.
congrats to him. And that's revenue that we can produce. It's very, very achievable. Like like once these systems are in place and this is very achievable for yourself or for no aqua team will be in that similar situation.
Okay.
Yep. Heck yeah. So yeah, please, any more questions? I love thinking about these and answering as many questions as possible.
Not on this.
No, if you keep, you got more, Crystal?
Not on this specifically.
Yeah, if you keep talking, Courtney, something will definitely come up.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about Crystal? What's
Mine is more so like it's more so like when I be on the dialer and stuff.
oh sure.
So like I can't even think of it now. I probably should have wrote it down because it keeps happening. I'm like, this is a question I need to ask. Shoot. Hold on.
Oh, I do have a question from the call I did earlier.
Yeah, sure. While Crystal thinking
So
about it.
yeah, so if you have if you're on the phone with a potential seller and they said the house is under contract, when should you follow up with them to find out if the contract fell through or not?
Awesome. All right. So when is it set to close?
Tomorrow, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I actually put a note on one of the homes. I'm
Awesome.
not sure if you took a look at it.
That's exactly what I would ask. When is it set to close? Great. Congratulations. I hope it goes through for you. But we know how some of these transactions go, so we love to be in consideration just in case your buyer backs out and you need a new buyer, something happens. So when's it set to close, Miss Seller, Mr. Seller? All right, cool. We'll give you a call back around that time just to check in. Hopefully it goes well out for you, but if not, we'll maybe be there.
Okay.
This thing's set to close tomorrow. They probably received the HUD. It may go through, but and then the other question is the key question that we all should be asking at the very end is, and do you happen to have any other properties or land that you might consider selling?
Yeah, that's a big one right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got to pull a lot out from that. Yeah. Well, shoot, I'm gonna go ahead and pause. We can still answer these questions, but I'm gonna stop the recording so that it can start doing this thing and we can get this out to the world and hopefully make an impact. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It really allows us to reach many people. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please put them in the comment box so that we can communicate. You can contact me through this YouTube or wherever you're looking at. You can find me on Instagram at Courtney M. Rollins or at aquateam_properties. And yeah, what about you all? If people want to reach out to you all, how would they reach out to you?
You can reach out to me on Facebook at K Love Homes.
And I'm on Instagram at k.p_. That's me.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Until next time, folks, rising tides.